semaglutide absolutely changed my life and absolutely has bettered me and bettered my relationship with food in ways that I cannot explain. The content in this video is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a medical professional or licensed physician. The information provided in this video should not be considered as medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, lifestyle, or medical treatment. Let's get back to the video. Hey, what's up you guys? It's Everything Will Improvement here, back with another awesome video. How are you guys doing? Throughout my life, my 20 years of age, right until recently, I've always suffered immensely with my relationship with food, if that's what you want to call it. Ever since elementary school, middle school, and high school, I've struggled with my weight. In elementary, I played soccer. I was on a soccer team and I was always the bigger kid. Thank God I was never morbidly obese or anything like that, because my activity levels were so high that kept my calorie intake sort of in check, and I was overweight, but I was never really obese, you know. And the same thing in middle school. I always was playing soccer, running, and I lifted a little tiny bit of weights, but you know, nothing too seriously, nothing to initiate any sort of muscle growth or anything of that nature. And I was always picked on it, you know. People would point out that I was big. I suffered with my confidence levels. I always had man boobs. I always had a bit of a belly. Face was chubby, with things which made me really unconfident. But the thing that most ruined my confidence levels was my relationship with food. I was always eating. It was never enough. I could never feel satisfied and not eat until my next meal. I always had to snack on something, whether it was something healthy or unhealthy. I was always looking for that dopamine from food. And my freshman year of high school, I got up to 185 pounds at 5'5", which wasn't, you know, really obese. I was playing competitive soccer, and since my coach did a fantastic job in working my conditioning, I could run for long periods of time and I'll get tired. I played soccer 3 to 4 times a week. I was always playing soccer, but it did hinder my ability to perform. It hindered my ability to be confident. It hindered my ability to dress well, because my stomach and my, you know, my titties were always poking out. Between the summer of my freshman year and my sophomore year, I started to lose weight. I lost about 15 to 20 pounds. I got down to 165, and I still had a bit of man boobs. So eventually, the last part of my first semester in sophomore, I got down to 150 pounds, probably 145 pounds. I was skinny. I was very skinny fat, so I did still have a little bit of roll of love handles. I had a bit of titties, but my arms were really skinny. And I was at 145 pounds for around 6 months, until the summer of going into my junior year. I started lifting a little bit of weight, gained a bit of muscle, and I stayed around 160, which I was looking pretty good. But unfortunately, I became really depressed because I had a very severe speech disorder, which led me to binge eat a little bit. I got up to 165, 166. From Monday through Friday, my diet was on point, because since I was in school, I was studying. I really never had my mind in food, but except when the weekends, you know, would come around, I would absolutely binge eat everything. I would eat everything. Something was obviously wrong. And it was a summer going into my senior year, which I officially committed to weightlifting. I joined a small community gym, which is FEV. It was the first gym. I still go to that gym to this day. It has absolutely changed my life in ways that I cannot begin to describe. So pick up to James, which is the owner of FEV Gym, for starting that gym. But anyways, getting back to the point of this video, started lifting weights as a form to increase my confidence. And when I just started senior year, people were noticing me more. I was getting more validation. It felt really good, but there was still one problem. I couldn't speak to girls. I had this immense fear due to my speech disorder and my past very failed attempts of speaking to girls just crumbling, not being able to hold a conversation for more than 10 seconds without stammering. And it got to a point where I became suicidal. I told myself I have 1 year to improve this. If I don't improve this, suicide will be an option. And which led me to research topics, which led me, you know, to finding Michael Williams, how he has absolutely helped transform my speech. But I encountered a lot of failure. My lack of mental health knowledge, my lack of gratitude, journaling, meditation, praying, cold showers, all of these things which improve your mental health. I was not doing that, but I was going to the gym, but my depression still lingered. So I visited a psychiatrist and I got put on SRIs, Zoloft to be exact. It took around 6 weeks to work. I started at around the first couple days of January of 2020, so it took about 6 weeks to work. So it was around mid-February which it really started lifting me up, and it changed my life, you know, in ways that I cannot imagine. It took away the depressed part of me, but the problems that made me depressed were still there. Not much changed except my mood. I felt better. I felt like a weight was put off my shoulder. which was very good. But those SSRIs came with one huge side effect. It made me hungry and it cured my binge eating, but I was just hungry, so I was eating more. I was eating 500-600 calories more, and especially when quarantine was set in place. 2020 was a pandemic year. My last semester of high school got cut short in March. 1 week before spring break was the last week of in-person school. So that got completely eliminated and I started going to online classes. The first couple months of SSRIs, my weight didn't really change very much. I was still very focused on school, on the gym, on studying, on being able to graduate high school. Food wasn't on my mind later on, which was when quarantine was set in place, and I was in my house all day, every day, and you have the kitchen a couple feet away from you. What are you gonna do? You're gonna eat to get that dopamine. So I started eating a lot, and it led me to the second part of 2020 where I gained 20 pounds and I got up to 185. I also forgot to mention that the year after I graduated from high school, I took a gap year before going into college. So from late 2020 to beginning 2021, I was only working. And fast forwarding to mid 2021, I reached 190 pounds, which was a 26 pound increase since I graduated high school, which was, I really wasn't very cognizant of it at the time because I thought it was mostly muscle, but looking back at it, it was definitely not mostly muscle. It was mostly definitely fat. I did gain a good amount of muscle since I was still fairly new to weight training. It wasn't even 50% muscle, probably 15 to 20%, probably even 25% was muscle, but that's about it. So my hunger just kept piling up, and fast forwarding even more to mid 2022, I reached 215 pounds, which was terrible. I did not feel confident in my skin. I wasn't depressed or anything. The SSRIs and my self-improvement journey did a good job of alleviating me from that depression, but I was not confident in my own skin. I felt like I had hidden potential. I felt like I had to uncover all of the muscle that I have been working on for the past 3 years. So I had many failed attempts at losing weight because my hunger was just so high. I relied on low calorie dense food, still didn't do it. I was still extremely hungry. By the time I got to bed, I was 215 pounds gaining weight, and I was still very hungry as I was gaining weight and eating more. Let that sink in. 215 pounds, gaining about half a pound per week, and still getting hungrier. It's crazy. Those are, the untold very negative side effects of SSRIs. There's a big pro to it because it can alleviate a lot of depression, but there's a big con to it because you're really prone to having, severe side effects. In my case, it was weight gain, and I was like, I'm done, And later on that year, I stopped, I quit. I very slowly weaned off antidepressants. So off July of 2022, I was in Mexico, so I was like, I have to try some sort of GLP-1 agonist. And since I didn't want to be, injecting myself with stuff, I settled for Rybelsus, which is semaglutide. Semaglutide absolutely changed my life and absolutely has bettered me and bettered my relationship with food in ways that I cannot explain. It has completely eliminated my binge eating. I'm now fuller, eating less calories, and the best of all, I've lost around 25 pounds since 5 to 6 months, and I still have around another 15 pounds to lose. I'm around 188 right now, and I feel very confident in my own skin. I still have ways to go until I have some sort of muscle definition, but I'm doing really good. And then since it's taken a bit of time for me to lose weight, I've kept my strength. I've lost a little bit of strength, but I've mostly maintained strength in various lifts. Semaglutide has absolutely bettered my life tremendously. I will eventually lean off of it in a year or two whenever I'm comfortable with my weight. I'm very comfortable with my weight, and my relationship with food is completely healed. I will slowly wean off of it. It has had me the chance of bettering my nutrition because I'm not as hungry. I'm not in a rush to consume calories, which is definitely a good thing. And this is my story with semaglutide and how it has changed my life. Hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.